Hey guys, Buck here with BTM Scale Modeling, and it's Tuesday, so I'm going to do a little format this week because, guys, I'm on vacation. So I'm going to do a little bit of introduction, go through, do a little bit of build, come back, talk to you guys a little bit. We'll see how it goes. But the key thing is I'm on vacation. So we had a great weekend in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Tough Mudder is done. We completed it. Very proud of Destiny and Jacob. They were beasts through the whole thing. My son is the first team member we've had that actually completed every obstacle, and that's saying something. He's 14, and he was showing up some of the best fit people we saw out there how to get it done. So I'm very proud of him, but I'm proud of the whole team. It's saying a lot, to go through and do 10 miles with 20 plus obstacles that challenge everything from upper body, lower body, and mental, everything. So a great big congrats to my whole team. We did it. I'm two-time now, so that's my second one, and loved every minute of it. Had a great weekend with family and friends, but now I'm ready to get some building done. I want to get quite a bit accomplished this week. So kind of what my plan is, what I plan on doing is tying up the nacelles, getting those all put together, showing you how I go about lighting the nacelles, getting the impulse engine done, how I frost the bulb, what with that effect, getting the aft part of the ship where the shuttle bay is, getting all the marker lights and the window light put in, try to get started on secondary hull, and hopefully get started somewhere on the main saucer. Now I know that's a big thing, and between doing all that, work on the base, because guys, at this point in the build I need to start thinking how I'm gonna, once it gets done, I need to be able to, what I'm gonna do for that. So guys, if you haven't yet gone and checked out Joey Shipman on Facebook, Joe Ships and Models. I'll clarify that down the video. I'm sorry, guys. He does great, outstanding commission builds. He does a lot of builds, and I've been taking some advice. So what I thought about doing is having, like I did with the Enterprise, with the power port directly into the ship, and then all that, and running the circuit boards in. I'm not going to do that. Straight up right now. Not going to happen. So I went to Hobby Lobby today, and I found a base. Now basically this is just a free floating shelf. As you can see, I went in and I cut out the bottom, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all the circuit boards in there, but I'm going to drill my power, and I'm going to run the power adapter to here. That way everything's tied into the bottom, so if I have any problems with the circuit boards or down the road, I can work on it. So with that said, I'm going to be mounting, brass tube in there, and then running the tube up through the secondary hull like so. It's a pretty tight fit, so I'm probably not gonna glue this part, give it that little bit of free range. I haven't decided on that. I'm not gonna probably epoxy that, just for the simple fact that I have animals. If you have animals, they seem to think that my display shelf is for their amusement and pleasure. So, but that's the plan. We're going to keep working on this and try to get a lot more done. So guys, thanks for joining me for this week on my vacation, and I'll shut up now and let's get to the bench. One last thing before we get to the bench, don't forget, click the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. And follow me as I do more builds. I love the Starship builds. I really am into that. So follow me there. Please go follow the great people that I have at the beginning of my video. Amazing Scale Modeler, Sci-Fi Fantasy, the Model Shop, everybody. It's a great community to reach out to and be part of. With that said, guys, if there's anything you would like to see more of a technique I've done, or go more in depth why I did it a certain way, please leave a comment in the comment section. I will respond within usually 12 to 24 hours unless something else takes up. So now with that said, let's get to the bitch. Hey guys, welcome back. It's Thursday morning. Sorry I didn't have an update for yesterday. I did do some work though. I wanted to get some things hashed out and ironed out that I'm going to show you now. But first off, I want to show you the nacelle is put together. This is the first one. This is the one that I was working on that I showed you. So now I need to go around and get the clear parts taped up and then do the seam work and get rid of those. But while that is very cool, I wanted to show you my idea. Like I said, one of the biggest problems I was seeing was with the wiring coming from the impulse, the wiring coming from the nacelles, and the wiring coming from the marker lights. What were we gonna do? So this is what I did. Nothing really special, but I'm gonna show you here, guys. So this is the part when the nacelles are together. This is what lets you put it into warp and into subspace travel, or sublight travel. So all I did is I notched it out. I left quite a bit, but I notched that out. And that's going to give me room to run my wiring in. The next part I did is, like I said, I didn't want to use the plastic, so I went with the brass tubing. So here on the brass tubing, like I showed you guys earlier, I had the length to the kit piece, the plastic piece that went in here. So what I did is I etched out, notched out a hole, and then what I did is I cut the tubing in half. I just cut this out of the middle, and this is going to allow me to run all my wiring through. So then I just glued in the tubing to that. Let's see. Come on. There you go. Again, and then I notched out the top part. So I'd have to, there we go. So this is what it's going to look like. So once you got your nacelles put on in the wiring, it still lays pretty well in there, just like so. And then basically all we're going to do is trap it. Now I glued these two pieces. That's the only part getting glued on for this part of the kit. I'm not going to glue it in here. I'm just going to set it in, and then excuse me, and then we trap it. So we still get the travel part, and then we can take it up into, oh sorry guys, we still get the travel part like so, and then we can still take it up into warp. And this is probably the way I'm going to actually display the ship, is in warp configuration, kind of like that. Not sure yet. Just have to see how it goes. But yep, so that was the plan. That's how we took care of being able to run our wiring through. So when it's all set and done, which got to do a little work there, all our wiring is going to hit like that, and then it just sets inside when we get done. And then I got to notch out this piece. So that's the plan, is I'm going to keep working on finishing this. As you guys can see, I've kind of notched this out. Don't worry, I'm going to show you how I did that. We're going to get that impulse engine in, and we're going to start working on lighting. So let me get reset, and I will show you what I did here with the nacelle that I'm going to show you how I do my lighting process on. Okay guys, be back in a second. Guys, so we're going to get ready to start working on the nacelles. Now this is going to be a little bit of a consuming process because there's several parts we got to do. But the first thing we need to do is, for me anyway, is to get the depth for our little 1.3s. Okay, so I have a Dremel, and like I said, if you guys don't have this kind of Dremel yet, basically it's a regular Dremel, and then it's got this little wand attachment. Great piece of equipment to have, trust me. It's a lot easier holding this thing than it is the other. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. And basically the technique is we're going to go back and forth until we get enough of a depth. But warning, very light passes. Do not gouge in, do not dig in. Just take nice, easy passes as you see. So it's going to get a little loud. And like I said, all I'm doing is taking light, no pressure. I'm letting the tool do the work. Okay, now this might take a couple of times, but let the tool do the work. Don't try to force it. Just let the bit do its piece. So basically you want to get to where you think you're good, and then bring up your piece and check that out. That's exactly what I want. Just a little bit above. Let's see. Just a little bit above. Yep. So that's perfect. So put that down, and we will do the next one. Now this one might seem a little tougher because you got everything already in place, but it's not that hard. So again, reasonable amount of speed, and then just light, easy passes. We'll come back and check. This one I might have to put some putty back in, some Bondo, because this is that one I drilled the hole bigger on. And doing that little bit of cleaning, yeah. So it's definitely where we want it, but I need to add a little bit of Bondo to that. So, but okay guys, so the next part of the technique, first off, I'm going to add Bondo. We'll find it here in a minute. I probably left it outside. I was doing some work outside. Yeah. Nope, there it is. Huh? Mornings, I tell you, they're a blast. So basically, I'm just going to add some Bondo back to this. Just like so. Okay, so naturally we gotta let that dry, and yes, I might have to scrape it out a little bit to fit the light, but that's okay. That'll be easy enough to do. So one of the things I learned on the Enterprise D when I was doing the marker lights with the clear plastic is I didn't make sure I light blocked the bottom. So once you get this done, what we're going to do, and since I already got these other pieces here, what we're going to do is we're going to go back through and make sure we get some black paint down, because we don't want that light to bleed through and have to put layer upon layer of paint on the top. So very simple, just right like that. There you go. Nothing too strange, but trust me guys, this will save headaches down the road, because you're going, oh my god, I cannot get that to quit, you know, leaking through the kit. So there we go. So while that is drying, we will I'm going to pull something else up and show you what is going to be going on with the base. but we need to let this dry, so I will be right back. Okay guys, so here's the base. So basically all I've done is I went through and added some Bondo to the staple portions and filled those in, sanded them down. What I've done is, it might not show up, but I've drilled my speaker holes. I've drilled the center of my kit. Now what's going to go on here is, well, I still have to sand this down. This is what is my idea for the base. Very nice tight fit through there. So, and basically, try to show you guys here, give you a preview. Now the post will be level. Like I said, with the post, what I'm going to do is I'm probably not going to actually glue it into the kit. That gives it a little turn. It's very tight anyway, and I don't want to have to fight with that. I'm not sure. I'm still evaluating it. And guys, your opinions at this point would be greatly appreciated. What do you think? Glue the post into the ship and then work our way through with all the wiring. Because basically all I'm going to do is I'm going to get all the wiring done, get the ship together, paint it all, and then snake the tube in. Plus the tube's going to be painted. But let me show you, if I can, kind of what this is going to look like on this base. And like I said earlier in the introduction, guys, it's never too early to start thinking about what you're going to do with the project, because it's something you need to figure out. So yeah, so like you can see, the ship kind of wants to tip forward once you put the saucer section on, and I wanted to do that, so I'm probably going to end up gluing the post in to the ship itself. But for the most part, let's see here real quick. Let's get some of that weight in the back. Give me a second here, guys. Bear with me, I think you might enjoy watching this. So, ooh, nice tight fit, I tell you. There we go. So we're going to put you back on. So you. Fit in there. Okay. So yeah, that helps balance it out in the back a little bit. Not much, as you can see. So we're gonna have to glue the post in to keep it set. But let's see if I can't give you guys a side preview. Here, give me 1 second. Let's go up there a little bit. There we go. So here's my thinking on this base. It's I'm going to stain this, and then I'm going to metallic paint this, the insignia, and then go from there. But I think, yeah, that's going to work out really well. I think it's going to look really good on this base. So that's that. Still got some sanding to do, guys, but that's not why you're wanting to watch right now. We are going to keep working on lighting. Let me get things out of the way. There's a really good view of the base. And then what I'm doing is, instead of running the power jack into the ship, I'm just going to run it out the backside here. So that's the base. So where are we going to go from here? Well, the plan is, like I said, to teach you guys how I do lighting. So, yeah, that didn't work out well. I have to play with that. So, like I said, this has got to dry a little bit, but what I can show you, very simply, is how I'm going to do this impulse crystal. So give me a minute, guys. Let me get reset and we'll come back and I'll show you how to light the impulse engine. Okay, so we're going to work on lighting the impulse engine. So basically, like I told you guys, these are some 5mm pre done up LEDs that I've had for a couple of years now, and I'm kind of wanting to get rid of them. So what we're going to do is I want to show you the effect we're going to do. So take it down, and I'm lighting this all 9 volts. So just so you guys know, using 9 volts to light this whole ship. So, dang it, stay on there, please. I'm gonna get a clip. So this is what it's. Let me turn this off, so you can see how bright this is. It's not very bright. It's only at the end that's really bright. But what I want to do is I want to diffuse the light, because when you put it in here, it just kind of, it does what I want it, but not much. So what we're going to do is called diffusing. And you've heard me talk about that before. And what we're doing is, all we're going to do is we're going to sand and scratch up the bulb. What this does is it causes micro scratches that help the light. It really brings the light out more. Sorry if I'm not getting a good technical term there, but all it does is it just diffuses the light. It spreads it out more evenly. So basically all it is take a fine grit sandpaper, take your bulb, and just start sanding. Now, this is, like I said, this can a little labor intensive somewhat, not bad. And you're going, oh my god, you're scratching a bulb. But guys, as you saw on the other impulse engine, it gives such a great effect. And that's what we're going for. We're going for that nice, cool red all the way around effect. And just like sanding clear pieces on these LEDs, you want to make sure that you get all the parts. Now the reason I'm trying to use up all these pre-wired is over the last year I've gotten quite a bit of resistors. I have a bunch of lighting, and I don't usually use 5mm much anymore. I do to a point, but I'm more into the 3mm bulbs, the 1.5s, the 1.8s for these Starship builds. Not really a big place for these 5s. There is on the bigger kits, like huge kits like the 350 refit. I have quite a few for that. But for the smaller kits, they're just like lighting a Y-wing fighter. They're just too big. So I do. I've learned how to use the resistors now and go from there. The reason like I said, I started buying these because I didn't know anything about resistors or how to do it. So now we have it nice and frosted. I'll show you guys here. This is what we're looking for. Real nice frosted effect. So we're gonna attach it back to our box. And as you guys can see, maybe versus the other way, this it's just a more even, subtle glow around. So instead of it just being, because like I said, we'll hook it up like so, now when you look in there, it's a lot more evenly distributed and not bright on one end and the other. So what's the next part we're going to do? Well, that's easy, guys. If you don't have one yet, I suggest you buy one. Glue gun. Hot glue gun. High-low temp. Awesome, awesome piece of equipment to have on your bench, guys. I can't tell you how many times this thing has saved my butt. So it really doesn't matter which way you put it in for here, because we did sand that bulb down to diffuse it. I'm going to go this way where it's starting to run the leads out, and you can kind of bend it. Like I said, the light's very nice and diffused now. So basically all you want to do is get your where you want it, and I'm trying to put it about middle. That's a perfect spot. And then we just add the glue. Now what I do first is I just get enough to where I can keep the bulb held down without burning my fingers on the glue. And then we'll go back through and add some more. Try to show you here, guys. So this is glued, and so now I'm just letting that glue set up. And the glue is actually going to help diffuse the light too, just so you guys know. That's what I like about the hot glue. It'll help really get that light diffused. So we got a nice effect going all the way through the piece. So now something I do once the glue cools down is I go down and I push it down. Two things for that. One, it makes sure that that bulb gets down where I want it. And two, if anybody's worked with hot glue before, you know how it can mound up, and then when you're trying to put your pieces together, it just becomes a quagmired mess. So now I'm going to finish adding glue in here and try to spread it out just a little bit. And like I said, again, we're going to let that cool down because I will be adding more glue. I'm going to put some glue here to stabilize that. Like I said, wait for it to cool down a little bit. For those who don't do morning coffee, I do Munsters. So, okay. Again, we let it cool down. Then just go down and press. Get the spider webs out till we have something we're working with. Then remember, guys, test fit, test fit, test fit. So we're going to go back through. Look at that. Nice little piece put together here. So I'm going to put a clamp on. Make it easier to see. And we're going to show you how this looks. Little man is active. Okay. A little bit. There we go. Zoom out. There we go. So here we go, guys. Got a nice little warp engine warp effect. Let me move that back so you can see that. So I'm going to turn the light off. Get more of the effect there. Very nice. That's what we're looking for. Now, as you can tell, it's kind of a little bit brighter on the back because that's the point of the LED. And then you got the subtle red. But that's what we were looking for. So we'll put them both together kind of, and let's see how it looks. Give me a second here, guys. Turn that back on. Refocus. There we go. We're gonna zoom out. So, give me 1 second here. I want to plug them both in. Put another clamp on. Guys, clamps are the shit. Excuse my language there. Clamps are the business, man. If you ain't got clamps, get some. Nice strong ones. So, I'm just going to hook up the two ends real quick. See how these look together. Now here's the great thing, guys, is this wire won't be this long once I get it set, everything done up. I will cut this wire down to make it fit, trust me. There's no way we're gonna have it that long. So the effect's about the same for both sides, which is what we wanted. Give me a second here, guys. Let me try to do something here so you guys can see this better. So one of the things you want to look at is the camera trying to focus. Is the effect is pretty well the same on each side. That's what we're looking for. We don't want it real hard up front, but we do want a nice bright in the back. So yes, my chair is squeaking again. Be quiet. Sorry guys, that cat just sometimes I just want to skin it, you know. He's a pain, but that's what we're looking for. So with that said, things should be getting dry. We are going to keep moving on, and I will get some other things set up and see you soon. Alright guys, welcome back. So what we're getting ready to work on is I'm going to start adding the strobe and marker lights to the aft section of the ship. So some of the things I did, just kind of let you see, is I went ahead and cut a path through the bulkhead, because this is all going to be inside the ship right here. This will give me enough space to put my wiring and all that through into the secondary hull. So basically right now what I'm doing is, like I said, getting ready to wire up the strobes and the red and greens. So something I did just kind of help you when you're doing this is I went ahead and marked each position, because when you're looking at it down on the ground, the reverse order, sometimes it kind of, you can get lost going, okay, which way does it go? So just a little tip, mark the spots. So what I have here is my handyman, or my helping hands. Guys, if you don't have one yet, I suggest you get one. My soldering iron and my solder. So what I did is I use this tool, and the wire that I use you can find on Amazon. It's basically it's 30 AG wire, and I really like it. It's very small, very thin, and what it allows you to do is you can strip it and then twist it onto the pins of the lighting, and very simple to do. And I will show you that when I get ready to wire up the reds and the greens. I'll show you how I did that, but for this purpose I just want to show you my steps of getting things ready to go. Now as you notice, there is no resistor yet because I want to actually glue these in place, and then once that's done I can figure out how where I want to space the resistors, because basically the strobes have to go to their own circuit to the board, and then the red and greens I can make a complete circuit with other lights. So basically all it is, guys, is make sure your iron's hot, make sure you got a little sponge to clean off your cleaning material, and then I just kind of test to make sure it's hot, and then basically all I'm doing is learning how to hold my tongue out at a certain angle and getting these soldered on. So basically it's just making a quick connection, getting them in place so they don't break, and then periodically just clean that off, dip it into your cleaning solution, wipe it off. So guys, this is basically as simple as it gets. Take your time, be careful, but there we go. We have now made two solid connections for the lights. And like I said, basically all it's going to be is get stuff out of the way here. All we're going to do, next step, is I'm just going to glue them in place. Let's see if I can get that in the frame for you. Just going to glue them in place, and then from there we can figure out what we're going to do, because I want to add the resistor, but right now it's just getting the main wires connected and getting it glued. So again, let's see, glue gun is plugged in. Again, it's just getting things in place. We're just going to add a small dollop of glue to get it put into position. Just like so. And then like I said, we're going to let that cool down for a second, and then we'll press it down. Text message. So, again guys, it's all about patience. Don't be in a hurry. You know, when working with these little bulbs, it can get frustrating. So make sure, and then just add some pressure. Make sure the bulb's in place, you know. And there we go. So there's one stroke. And then the same thing, we're just going to come in here. Said I'm not real worried about where the wires are at just yet. I just want to make sure everything's in position, because working with these little bulbs, it gets kind of squirrely. My word for the day, squirrely. And then like I said, we're just going to add a little glue here. Might get a little burnt finger, but you know, in the long run, it'll be fine. So, sorry. Oh, my camera likes to try to time out every once in a while, so I gotta make sure I keep working on that. So, then we're gonna press down. Make sure it's sitting right. Try not to hit the window too much. The photo etch. Now we're gonna add just a little bit more glue. Wipe that off. Let that cool, and then we'll press down on that. Because what we're going to do, and what this glue does also helps us with, once I get the resistors wired up and then we test it, it's going to let us see, we can do blight blocking on the back of it. So again, we're just going to press down, get that nice and level, and there we go guys. Just as easy as that of putting in lights. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to finish getting everything wired up. I'll come back and I'll show you how to, that little technique of twisting the wire onto the LED. And then I am going to finish getting everything in place. Trying to plan where I'm going to have my resistors set and get this stuff turned on so we can see what it looks like. Alright, see you guys in a minute. Okay guys, so basically this tool, it's a VTech, it just helps strip this wire. So it's got a little notch in the middle of it. You can take your wire in as much as you want, pull it down, give it a quick twist, and then strip the wire. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I'm still using just usually black for my negative side. So if you guys get these little 1.3s or the SMDs or whatever, and they're not pre-wired, like this one, I'm going to try to bring it up close, see if it'll focus. There is a black stripe on these bulbs. Sorry if that didn't focus enough for you. That lets you know that's the negative side. So basically all you do is the longer end of this tool is a part where you can slide the wire in and you kind of bend it over. Then you take your LED, no matter what size, insert your post into the middle, and depending on where you want to go, and then you just twist, adding a little pressure, and then just twist until you have that connection. And then you can take this side and press it down, get it a little compact. So there. And that's how we do a connection, guys. And then what I'll do is I'll go back and solder here in a minute. So wanted to show you guys that. Very simple technique, but trust me guys, it's a lot easier than trying to twist wire on by hand and yeah, or you know, go from there. There's other wire out there. Boyd uses one where you can actually, it's very cool. You can just touch it down, solder it in place, a little bit of solder. This I'm using because I got miles of it still. So when I start running out of that, I'm gonna start looking at new wire, and I'll bring that to you guys when I do. So like I said, I'm gonna keep working on getting these all hooked up, and when we come back, hopefully we'll start seeing some light. So I'll see you guys when that's done. Okay guys, here's done. Took me a couple hours, a lot of work to do, and I'll split it open and show you what I did. But I've gone ahead and hooked it up to the circuit board just so we can check everything. Let me turn the light off for you. So there you go guys, that is the rear lights of the ship in place. And look at those 1.3s, man, they are killer. So got some adjusting to do. I still got to light block the back of them, and I got to do some work. This window keeps popping on me, so I'm gonna have to put that back together. But other than that, we will have to do some seam work. It's not bad. I kind of figured we would. There's a lot going into here, so but thought you guys might like to take a peek at that. So ever and onward, we keep moving. So give me a second, let me get everything pulled apart, and I'll show you what I did. Okay guys, so this is what I did. It's easier to show you on the bigger pieces, and I'll show you all what I do. But basically, I went in and I took and I glued down my 1.3s. Same here on the top side. Got my LED strip tape in. Noticed one thing though, I might have to build a little box here, light box, to push that light forward. With the glue, and then going to be painting that black, I might lose some of that light, so I gotta think about what I'm gonna do there. I'm gonna leave it for now, but basically all I do is, so the strobes are gonna be on a separate circuit by themselves. That's why I have the blue and the black. I'm doing different colored wires to differentiate the effects. So all the lighting that's going to stay on, like the white LED strip tapes, the red and green marker lights, that's going to all be red and black. Same with what's going through the nacelles. It's just really easy, guys, working with this many effects. Pick a color and then use that to go through, and then if you need to, label. So I ran a resistor to each bulb, and I recommend you do that, and then you can tie them in down the line. So what I did is, for the red and greens that are staying on, I just made a jumper of the negative and ran that into a single line. Try to reduce some of the wires coming out. And the positive, like I said, I ran a resistor to it, and then when it comes out here, and when I get everything run through the nacelles, the impulse engines, I'm going to clean that up on the outside and just run one wire for everything. Try to get the bulk down, but definitely glue. And there's two things that this helps with, this hot glue. Like you said, you should definitely get it. One, when you make these connections, because some of these connections are so small, you can't run tubing on them. This glue will help keep them separated so they don't ground out. But also what it does is, because you're working with this 30 AG wire, The more you mess with it, it's such a thin wire, it's going to break apart. So once you get everything in place where you want, glue those connections, especially like here on the light strip tape. Pretty much everywhere you see I have a connection, I have it glued down. And that's going to help keep the wire from popping up. Not saying it's going to stop it completely. The more you mess with it, the more breakage you're going to get. So you don't want to keep doing that. Like I said, it'll help protect those connections. I did run tubing on some of it to help keep it separated, but the glue's really good about insulating between connections so you don't ground out. So what's next? Still waiting on pieces on the other nacelle to dry. I'm not, wanting to be in too big a hurry. Take my time, guys. I can't reiterate enough. Take your time, take your time, take your time. Because if you keep trying to push forward, you get tired, you get fatigued, you'll end up screwing something up. So with that, I'm gonna take a break, eat some lunch. But guys, pretty much this is done now. I gotta, like I said, now what I gotta do is I gotta go back and do blackout, do some black paint, cover up those for light leaks, and then we're gonna keep working on the nacelles. So guys, I'll see you soon. Alright guys, it's Friday afternoon, and while I had planned on showing a lot more before putting this video together, I had planned on actually having the nacelle at least one side done and glued in and ready to go, because we pretty much got the aft section ready. And then I was going to show you how I wired everything in on the port nacelle, but the starboard nacelle gave me hell. So I glued it, I bondoed it, I sanded it down, I had it ready to go. I started getting, hold on, micro mask on for covering up the bulb, the LEDs, and some of the clear pieces. And I went to go test the lighting after I put all of this together, and my blue LED strip tape was not working, and it was when I glued the nacelle together. So hindsight, I had to pull everything back apart and split the pieces, and come to find out one of my connections busted. So went and redid that. I think what it is some wire I was using, while it's really good, it does not like to be handled a lot. So basically what I have done is I went back through all my connections that I didn't use, the 30AG that I was showing you guys on this other one, and I got rid of the other wire that I was using and put in my wire that I've been using for all my lighting kits. So I know it's stronger, it can hold up to getting messed around with a little bit more. So that's that. So as you guys can see, I have got this piece glued together. We'll have to go back and rebondo it, resand it. Then we will put it to the pylon. Now, what I did on the pylon, guys, is I made the hole a little bit bigger. All this is going to be inside, so you don't have to worry about that. So you can make that hole as long as you want. So there's that. Now, if you guys remember, the other problem I had was, while this does light up, it's not brilliant. So I figured that out. I'm going to use one of my white SMDs, my little ones, and I'm just going to glue it right about here, and that should fix that problem. So guys, it is North Dakota State Fair, the beginning of the fair. So I've had a great vacation. I did not get anywhere near what I thought I was going to get done. And so we're going to keep continuing to work on this. We'll come back with build log 7 and hopefully have some pieces together for you. So guys, this is what happens when you build, and especially when you light. That's why I always say test, 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 glue test, paint test, decal test, clear coat test, matte coat test, put on base test. I mean, one thing about lighting is you're always testing because it's a fickle monster. So with that, I'm going to keep working on some things, and I'll talk to you in a minute. Alright guys, as you just saw, I'm finishing putting this together, so I'm going to end with my lovely mug for you guys. So yes, it was a great vacation. It is coming to a close with the weekend. We have North Dakota State Fair, as I said before, and I'm running a 5K, and we plan on spending the day tomorrow at the fair. Have a baseball game to go to tonight with the family. So I'm going to start cutting this together and hopefully get it posted within the next 24 to 48 hours, which you'll see. Guys, like I said, didn't get much going. Got a lot wired in, and just so you guys know, if you haven't lit a kit or you're starting to think about lighting a kit, a lot of it's patience. A lot of it's just taking your time. And as you saw in the video, I ran into a problem with my wiring connections. Sometimes, while they seem nice and snug and tight and ready to go, once you start putting stuff together and then start putting those pieces to other pieces and then trying to plan how the wires are going to run into another piece, the constant movement sometimes breaks the connection. So again, take your time. I really do suggest getting this 30 AG that I use. Sorry, it's kind of stranded. I found it on Amazon. It's very strong. It's very good. Like I said, just show you some stuff. We did get quite a bit done. All that right there was about 2.5, 3 hours worth of work. So again, don't be in a hurry. Show you here. Starting to plan on how I'm going to do the bass. I got the circuit boards in, kind of looking around with the speakers, but want to show you the color I've chosen. I went ahead and stained it, and I've glossed it, so the Starfleet emblem, the insignia, is going to sit here, post, and then again your ideas on the post. Like I said though in the video, I think I'm going to actually glue it down. Go ahead and glue it into the kit and then run stuff through, just because when I was testing it you saw that wobble. But the base for the most part is ready to go. Just got to finish doing the insignia. So where does that leave us, guys? Well, I knew going in the nacelles and the aft part of the ship were going to be probably the biggest part. It's definitely the most wiring in a compact area, so it's been a lot of moving it around, playing with it, looking at it, putting it together, taking it apart, putting it together, and then the trouble of gluing it, having to take that apart, gluing it again, fix wire, glue. So next up on the bench, we're going to actually, hopefully, I'll show you how to do the nacelle on the port side. I'm going to show you guys what I do, how I do all my lighting. You saw some of that with the aft section, but excuse me, I'm going to show you my step-by-step process. Hopefully get that all together by next weekend, get that seam taken care of, and then we can start in the main body of the ship. So like always, guys, click the subscribe button. Oh, over here. There you go. If you're new to the channel, please leave a comment. I enjoy your feedback. I enjoy your if you got some tips that I don't know about that might be more helpful to me, I always appreciate it. If nothing else, just say hi, let me know you're watching, and like I said, also if there's anything you want me to go over more, I will. If not, just like I said, say hi. So guys, I will see you next week on the bench.